Yo, people, welcome back to the YouTube channel. You already know what time it is. It's time for another episode of All You Can Eat Chelsea. I'm your host, who do the most, Matisse, in the building with the cast and crew, Miz and Younes. Boys, talk to me. Obviously, I'm so excited. I've had a nosebleed this morning. The head is hot. Do you know what I'm saying? The sun is shining. It's all mad. But listen, we've made two new signings in the space of, well, I guess a few days it will be between the announcements. Miz, how you feeling, man? Two key players coming in the door.
I'm buzzing, man. I'm singing in my channel. I'm having a party. It's here we go. Every day I wake up is here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Like Fabrizio, I'm looking at his page. Slowly some Man United news coming up. But it was all Chelsea yesterday. Every single post was Chelsea, Chelsea, Chelsea. I'm loving it, and maybe some more here we goes to come in the next couple of days. So it's good times, man. Good times.
This is what we needed. We were saying on the last couple of shows, Younes, that we need a couple of deals to get done. We're in pre-season now. Obviously, we can see the boys are training. I think the first game is on Sunday. So we were like, yeah, it's time to get a move on. And slowly but surely, we're getting stuff done.
Yeah, man. It had to be done. Especially, as you said, with pre-season. We were all, I think the panic amongst the fan base, for those that were panicking, was a case of like, all right, we need the signings before we even start preseason. And we've just managed to get it through the door. We've just pulled it off. And there's more. There's more. And there's more preseason games. You know, we've got the two games after the one on Sunday. Then we've got Udinese over in Italy. Hopefully by that point, everyone's through the door. Maybe bar a DM. But it's looking good. We're in a good place and we're moving so fast, man. I got to admire the way that we're moving. It's nuts. This is speed I don't think we've seen at Chelsea since maybe 2014 with Fabregas, Costa, and
Felipe Luis.
And Felipe Luis. That was just 3 players. We're looking to get in 6.
Yeah.
So, it's good times. Good times.
Yeah, it's mad. I think we can get away with 5 players, maybe. But yeah, to go for 6 is a lot. I have to give a lot of credit to Todd. I've been doing it really on a lot of my recent videos because he's doing like 3 or 4 people's jobs at once. And I've seen people, I've been going back and forth on socials, people saying, oh, well, he could have just brought in a sporting director or he could have brought in some advisors. But if you want the right people, it takes a while. Yeah, it takes a while to actually, first of all, he doesn't know the sport. So that's the first thing. So he's going to need to do his research. But you know, to just go and get a sporting director, that's not a decision you rush. That's the person that you bring in to shape your club from top to bottom, to establish the style and philosophy you're going to play, the youth strategy, the first team strategy, the purchasing strategy, everything. That's literally, he's in charge of the identity of your club. So you can't rush a sporting director decision and who you're going to bring in. And even if you do bring them in, they're not ready for this summer anyway, because they have to go and look through the whole team, see who fits, who doesn't. And by the time they've done all of that, and obviously spoke to Tuchel, spoke to Todd, seen what the budget is, these things take time. You're not going to get all of that done and then move swiftly in the window. It's just an unreasonable ask from fans.
Yeah, it's impossible. Exactly.
Yeah. It's very unreasonable to think that we're going to get all of that done, plus get our business done on time before preseason. Just no chance. So let's start off with Sterling, because obviously that's the first one that got announced. The fee's good. I think the fee's a really good fee. Obviously, the wages are really high as well, 310k a week, but that's about 10k over what he was earning at City. So remember when we was always talking about wages, and I was always saying every single player that comes in, I'm going to look at the wage. I think when there's a big jump up in terms of someone's making 120 and now we pay them 270, or they were making under 100, now we pay them 190. That's where I don't really understand negotiation tactics, and that's where I have concerns. But if they're already making a lot, there's not really much we can do. We're not going to exactly bring them down. Oh, he's not going to take a pay cut. So
unless you're Barca.
Yeah. Bro,
us Dembele.
Bro, in a year's time, do you know what's so funny about that? Yeah, Dembele was offered a contract in December, and he's taken a 40% cut from that wage that he was offered, that he rejected, and he's taken a 40% cut from that now. Bro, these people aren't even going to get paid in a year's time. They're going to be like De Jong and PK, where they're just not even getting paid to do it. They're going to be doing community service. It's mad.
But I hope they don't get paid. I really do. I hope that they knock on the Chelsea door and we just go.
and Rafinha is making less than he made at Leeds, I think. He's making like 61k at Leeds.
Is that true though?
I
Someone said
wouldn't be
he's
surprised.
like taking half that.
Apparently, yeah. I mean,
that's half of what we offered.
Yeah, we offered double what he was earning at Leeds, and he's taken half of what he's earning at Leeds.
That doesn't make sense to me. That's outrageous.
But it's all these lads that are just like, I mean, as I said it on the video yesterday, with Rafinha and Dembele, if I was a Barca fan, I'd be ecstatic. I'd be like, these guys care about the badge. Like, they just want to be here, bro. They don't care about the money or anything. They're like, this is fantastic. But from a neutral standpoint, I'm like, this makes no sense, bro. Like, this makes no sense. I don't know. I don't know what Barca are doing in negotiations. I don't know if they're waving some like magic thing in front of them to like hypnotize them or something. I don't know. But
or they have their nudes, maybe. Like maybe they got
maybe they've got a really good hacker.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. It's mad.
Dodgy's going on there.
Honestly, they're obviously not rich, but it's that saying where they say the richer you get, the less money you have to spend, and that's kind of the way it's going there, I guess, in a way. But obviously they're broke, so but they're rich, but they're fake rich, I guess you would say. So they owe so much money. But yeah, Sterling. I mean, this whole thing with Sterling keeps coming up with he's not going to be at his best, or he's not going to play very well without a striker. A lot of City fans keep saying that. Havertz is our striker. I don't know what they mean by that in terms of, does he need a focal point to work off? Does he need someone to link up with? Havertz can link up with him. Havertz could be the focal point where you play the ball into him and then you play off of him. I don't know what they mean by that. Or Sterling creates chances for the striker puts them in, that gets his metrics up. I don't know. I think they're underselling Sterling a little bit in terms of his versatility, because I've seen Sterling many a time as well arrive in the box and score goals. That's where he gets his goals from. He arrives in the box, and that's what me and Toby were saying on the Big Six. So therefore, we actually need to then have people that can create those chances for Sterling and have those cutbacks. I think that's where Sterling and Reece will come in very handy. I'm hoping there'll be chemistry from the England squad as well, because obviously you've got a few of those guys that have played with him a few times before. But Miz, what flank would you rather see him on, and confidence levels of him succeeding with and without that extra attacking player coming in, I guess?
I see him on the left. Just to go back to what you said in regards to City fans and some fans a bit doubtful that he works better with a focal point. My understanding of that is not in the sense of linking up, but I think not having the focus on Sterling. When he had Aguero, all the focus was on Aguero. Defenders were more concerned about him. And Sterling used that to his advantage to sneak into the box, into the left, far left-hand side, and getting those tappings, because defenders were more concerned about Aguero and his movement, and he was dragging everyone to his. Aguero was like a magnet, which then allowed Raheem Sterling acres of room. And how many times have we seen, boys, Raheem Sterling, far post, no one there, all by himself, boom, tapping. And it always seems to be popping up in between spaces, and the defenders are looking towards Aguero. So
even Aguero managed it himself like perfectly. So Sterling could give the ball to him, and he'd know Aguero will handle it.
Yeah, exactly. What has happened since then is, from what I've seen, Man City, he's been far more involved in linking up with the midfield. So because there was no focal point, he would link up with KTP, he would link up with Bernardo Silva, he would link up with XYZ, and then they would find him through his brilliant movement. And this is what we need to hope for. And because we don't have that Aguero kind of a player that would attract all their attention, we have to rely on Sterling's immense movement, because Sterling has a way to get into the box brilliantly. We just need to find those passes to get to Sterling. I think that's the most important part. That's where I worry a little bit. But we've got players. We've got Reece James. We've got Kovacic. We've got Mason Mount. We've got Havertz. We've got Callum. We've got Chilwell. All of these players, they will have to get better and improve as the seasons they're racking up in their careers. They will need to improve on that. So, look, I think Sterling will be a success. I think he will relish the opportunity to, at times, maybe take the game on himself as well. From that left side, especially when the game is not open, Matisse and Younes as well. Like when the game is not open and it's very, very tight defensively from the opposition, I think Thomas Tuchel will give him the license to go, Raheem, take him on, brother. Take him on and cut in if you have to, cut out, square the ball, cut in, whip a shot in. And I think he may relish that because City is a lot more mechanical. City is very mechanical. It's pass, boom, you're through, make it. Chelsea is not that mechanical as yet. Maybe we want to be, but at the same time, I think Thomas Tuchel wants that element of unpredictability. And this is what he's been saying. I want wide players or the wingers or the forward players to be unpredictable. I want chaos. I want the players, I don't even know what they're doing. Forget about the opposition. I don't know what he's about to do because I told him an instruction, but they could do something different. I'm not really sure. So then it really poses a big issue for the opposition. So look, I'm excited, but most importantly, boys, what I'm really excited about is his character, man. From what I saw yesterday, the little bits and pieces that Chelsea admin was throwing out, he's humble, man. He's very quiet, like soft-spoken. He's not loud. He's not like boisterous. He's humble, very soft-spoken. He's getting along with everyone. The vibe is great. The way Reece James, that picture, he's looking at him like it's his boyfriend or something. Do you know what I mean? Like he's really excited to see these. The boys are really excited to see Raheem Sterling, man. So look, let's see what happens. I'm very excited. I can't wait for the first game to see Raheem Sterling in Chelsea colours. I think he's going to do well.
Yeah, it's great to finally have a winger that you can rely upon to go past players as well. He's very, very good at going past players. Doesn't matter what flank it is. That's his thing. He isolates a defender and he takes them out the game. And that's something that we need because we're always having to have the perfect play, the perfect pass to get past a defensive block and a defensive shape. But if we actually have players that can take on others, then that is immediately you eliminate them out of the game. I think with him as well, the way I envision it is that Kai has to step up massively. But Kai is a player that he could play he obviously plays as the striker for us and he runs in behind and whatnot. But he could easily also play as maybe the false nine where he drops in and he starts to actually help create for Sterling as well, and he puts the ball in behind for him. And say you get a Gnabry or Rafael Leao on the other side, they can also help with that chance creation through their dribbling because Leao is a very good dribbler as well. But then I just want to see Kai back doing what he did at Leverkusen. Like he showed at Leverkusen he had the ability to pass. You don't play in the number 10 position if you can't pass the ball. If you can't dink the ball in between defenders and create opportunities in that way. And I think we all saw them, especially after lockdown, when he knew he was on his way out. He really wanted to join. Timo Werner had already joined. He was playing games against Rangers and whatnot in European Cup competition and kind of just going through the motions. But he was still showing so much quality. And the one thing I'll say with Kai is that I haven't seen the creativity since he's got here. I haven't seen, the invention, the imagination, the little
I don't think we've allowed him to.
Yeah, so that's what that may be it. But I'm hoping that now we'll see some more of that because I think his responsibility to be that guy will be a lot more because Sterling's not an elite passer. That's not his thing. Do you know what I mean? His thing is going up against players, dribbling or scoring goals as well, and going past players. And I think the same will be for Rafael Leao if he was to come in, although his price tag is very high. But Younes, what do you make? Are you excited about the Sterling debut upcoming for us?
Nah. Don't get it, of course. No, you know what? I agree with everything Miz said. And I think that Sterling's going to be... I think he might actually find himself more at Chelsea than towards the end of his spell at Man City. I think... I've got a feeling, right, that if we get an attacker in, if we get a striker or someone that's going to lead the line, if you want to say lead the line, because we know how we are going to function in the front three, but someone who's there, I think that helps Sterling so much. And we'll see who we get because we actually don't know who it's going to be if it even happens. But Sterling, I think, coming in is definitely an upgrade on what we've had on our wings, without a doubt. The ability that he has, what he brings with him from Man City is crucial. You know, that work rate, the high intensity, the urgency that Pep demands and that he's accustomed to because he's spent how many years at Man City and under Pep. He brings that, and that's exactly what Thomas Tuchel demands from his players. I feel he's going to fit in perfectly, physically, mentally, in terms of the speed of the game. I think Sterling's going to adapt immediately, probably going to end up being better than some of the lads we have. So he comes in, and I'm looking forward to it. I had my reservations about Sterling when we got linked with him on the occasions of how sometimes he takes a bit too long on the ball. Sometimes he makes the wrong decision. Sometimes he goes for the pass instead of the shot. Sometimes he goes for the shot instead of the pass. There's a blatant avenue there. He doesn't take it. He takes about a week to make a decision. But and I think Tuchel will probably end up coaching him a little bit. I do think that he has the ability to be a big, big threat and build confidence. He's direct. We need someone that's direct. We need someone who's going to dribble. How many games did we have against low blocks, as you said, Matisse? And there's no answer. Sterling, I think, comes in and he's bold enough to take players on. We talk about being mechanical at Man City. And I absolutely, especially towards his maybe last 2 years at Man City, you could see without a striker and a focal point, it did feel like Sterling's only avenue was probably to try and get him behind or whatnot. But you see at times where sometimes he's got the ball, he links up and he takes a risk. And we've needed that sometimes from our lads. You saw like a couple of times in the Champions League where there's no avenue for him to get through. There's like two walls, one on the edge of the box, another one just in the box. And it's like, I ain't getting through. Links up with KDB, links up with a Foden, cuts himself in. He thinks, screw it, I'm going to shoot. And he pings it into the top corner. We need that. We need that. So I think he's going to come in and he's going to make that left-hand side. I reckon he's going to play on the left. I reckon he's going to make that his. I think he's going to be a big upgrade on what we have, and I'm looking forward to it. And in terms of his character, it's kind of what sold me. Yesterday, the whole unveiling, and you hear what he's like. You don't really see that because we're not Man City fans. So in terms of what he's like as a person, we don't really know. We only see what we see on the pitch. But now he's at Chelsea. We see what we saw yesterday. And yeah, he just seems, reserved but confident.
Yeah.
He seems like a nice guy.
He's the complete opposite to Lukaku. Like in terms of personality, he's just very like low key, under the radar. He's not going to cause a big like scene. He's just a very calm. He'll fit right in. Do you know what I mean? He's not gonna like, even though he's the highest paid player, similar to Lukaku when he came in, he's not gonna like
he doesn't
start
act like it,
roughing up shoulders and
so it's not flashy.
He's not that. Yeah, he's not that guy.
Yeah, it's not flashy.
And every Man City fan I speak to about it always says the same thing: is that if anything, they wonder why he's actually so withdrawn. They wonder if he's actually like enjoying the Premier League win on the pitch, the celebration when they're having the big party, because he's still so calm. I think it's just his personality. When they talk about Aguero as well, to circle back to that quickly, it's difficult because there's no striker on the market that's on that level. We're talking about one of the greatest Premier League strikers of all time, and they're saying that's what we need. Yeah, no shit, we need. Do you know what I mean? Of course we do. Any team needs that. That's Aguero. Do you know what I mean? That's literally the perfect Premier League striker in the modern era. Technical ability, dribbling, finishing with both feet, small, agile, everything. Do you know what I mean? There's no option like that. The only two players that I've seen going around that, I guess, and this is obviously largely dependent on Broja, because I think if Broja leaves, we have to get a striker. I think even with Broja, we're still probably a little bit light. But if Broja goes, then we really need one. I would love Victor Osimhen. I think Victor Osimhen is a really, really good player, but he's far too expensive. Scamacca, I haven't seen much of Scamacca. He's going a lot of, he's going around. Everybody's talking about him. Obviously, PSG were linked, but I don't think they're going to pay the full fee, so I don't really know what's going on there.
And West Ham are linked.
Yeah, that's it. West Ham are linked. Yeah, so maybe if West Ham get him, then that rules Broja out to West Ham. Sure, it does. But there's still other clubs that are interested in Broja as well, like Newcastle. I don't know. It's tough. I don't really like the striker market, if I'm honest. I think there's definitely been better periods. And I'm definitely conscious of us not blowing the budget on someone that we're not really sure about because we're desperate, which is why I'd rather Broja stay, if anything. And then maybe look at the market again. Who knows? The World Cup could happen. Someone could be unearthed as well. you know, in January. So we've seen teams strengthen in January before. I don't think there's an excuse for us to not strengthen in January if we see areas where we haven't been able to strengthen in the summer. You look at Tottenham getting in Kulusevski, getting in Diaz at Liverpool, incredible signings. Newcastle got Bruno Guimaraes, brilliant signing. There's wiggle room in January if you know what you're looking for and you go for it. So I don't think there's any excuses there. But yeah, with Sterling,
this is why last season there was a moment, I think, where Lautaro Martinez was slightly connected to us.
Yeah.
That would have made sense to me because he's nimble. He's someone who would drop into midfield, who can get into the pockets of spaces, be very good in tight spaces as well. Technical ability is fantastic, and that player would have made a lot of sense. But obviously, I don't want to deal with Inter Milan at all.
Never again.
The other player that kind of makes me think, and nowhere near Aguero's level, not even a chance, but I'm saying someone who could possibly do that type of a role is a particular player who's on free agent, but he's also going to Inter Milan, is Dybala. Now, obviously, how he would fare in Premier League, I don't know. But Dybala's another player. Do you know what I mean? Like, could easily play as a false nine, drop in, and act as a creator. We know his qualities. Yes, last season, injuries and whatnot didn't turn out that well. Obviously, when Ronaldo came to Juventus, there was a lot of, I suppose, focus on Ronaldo. But seasons prior to that, Dybala was fantastic. But look, once again, I'm not advocating any of these things to happen. I'm just saying, I think those players make more kind of sense to what Thomas Tuchel wants to do up front.
Yeah, 100%. I think for me, I can't nail down Sterling's position until I see what the second attacker is looking like. Because there's reports coming out of Germany that Gnabry might sign a contract extension.
Yep,
there's people saying
that. That's what I thought.
They're saying that they're not sure. So I don't know what's going to happen in that situation. I would like Rafael Leao. I think I seen around about 80. Was it 80?
80 million euros.
Yeah. So that'd be around about 60 million pounds, 60 something million pounds. Listen,
he's predominantly on the left.
Yeah, and that's fine. I think then if he goes to the left, Sterling goes on the right. And I think that would be brilliant. Then I think we'd be pretty much sorted.
Sterling and Reece James. It'll be like that video of that guy watching England going, all right, Sterling, pass to Reece, pass to Reece. No, Sterling, pass to Reece, pass to Reece.
But do you know what I like about Sterling on the right? Obviously, his productivity on the right is really strong. But Sterling on the right, I think then I want to see more of Reece James as an inverted right wing back,
that could
in
work.
central areas. And then if you imagine and picture Reece in central areas, taking shots, crossing the ball, digging it out from under his foot in those Aspie kind of positions, and he's able to take more shots, like I said, because he's closer to goal. He's making those inverted runs into the box, like that goal against Arsenal, that goal against Newcastle, all of those goals that were kind of in that kind of similar area, just inside the box on that right hand side. And Sterling's on the right wing on the touchline, isolating someone, taking them out, and then, you know, cutting in and doing what he does there. And similarly with maybe Rafael Leao, he could be on the touchline as well. Chilwell makes those inverted runs. And again, he gets the opportunity to isolate people, dribble past them. And they have nice chemistry, the two pairings, where they can either use the overlap or underlap, it would be, I guess, with the wing back, or they can choose to ignore them and just cut in and do what they want. So, yeah, I would definitely like to see that for sure. Let's talk about Koulibaly as well. This is the monster, the sensational Senegalese. Do you know what I mean? It's a madness now. I know Younes is going to have to start supporting Senegal for AFCON, I'm sure.
Second country ready.
Mendy and Koulibaly, Special K, that's what we're going to call him now, the cereal. I'm very excited. I'm very excited, man, because I'm not gonna lie, this is the defender that, if you could have told me at the start of the window, when we went through our options, I'd said this is the one that's top of the list because of the age. We were looking at, you know, Gavidal, we were looking at all of these, you know, Bastoni, the younger ones. But in terms of the best age range for what we currently have, the lack of leadership that we've lost, Silva going in a year, this is the one where I was like, bring this guy in, because for me, he just slots straight in. And I think he can play all positions. I've seen, does he play on the right side of defense for Senegal? Do you know, Younes? I must check.
That's a good question because I think he does both.
Yeah.
But for Senegal,
I'm
trying to remember.
Yeah, because they were trying to scare me. Fearmonger, I would call it, on the Big Six about, you know, he can only play on one side. He can only play on the left. Now, yes, he's played on the left a lot for Napoli all season. He's played on the left. But I just don't see why he wouldn't be able to play on the right. Do you know what I mean? He's a very intelligent player. He has played on the right. Right-footed. Yeah, he's right-footed. He has played on the right for Senegal. I'm checking some of their fixtures now back in AFCON. He did play on the right sometimes. So, yeah, I don't really see why he wouldn't be able to make that adjustment, to be honest. I think that was just fear-mongering. And maybe a touch and hint of saltiness. Jealousy for our success. Finally, we're bringing in players. They probably didn't expect us to bring in, to be fair. And, you know, they assume we're mudded. But, of course, we're still going to do business, like was always said. Miz, how excited are you about Koulibaly, man? Is this the creme de la creme for you?
Yeah, bro, this was my first choice. I didn't even think about De Ligt until it actually became a thing. And then I had to convince myself, much like Younes as well. I think Younes found himself convincing himself. Yeah, it was never De Ligt. So Koulibaly for me was number one choice, the perfect Rudiger replacement. We talk about a replacement. Not many people like that word replacement. What do we need to look for a replacement? I think the word replacement just gets thrown around. What we're trying to say is you got Rudiger. You definitely don't want to lose Rudiger and bring someone who's subpar, like below him. You know, you go from Rudiger to either the same level or a level above. And who knows, maybe Koulibaly is probably a level above. Like Koulibaly's actually been probably world-class for a lot longer than what Rudiger is. And this is no slander. Rudy, for me, I wanted him to stay. Like, I connected with that brother. Like, I was all for Rudy. Do you know what I mean? But Rudy was world-class only under Thomas Tuchel. Prior to that, he was good. He wasn't world-class. Koulibaly, however, he's been world-class for a little while now.
Yeah,
he's done really well. And some of the people that pop into my live chat in recent times, I've noticed, you know, people that follow Serie A, they've been saying Koulibaly has undoubtedly been the number one defender in Serie A for the last 5 seasons, minimum. So for me, that's quite impressive. Do you know what I mean? So him coming in, his connection obviously with Mendy, fantastic. I'm pretty sure Mendy had some things to say in regards to this particular transfer, some good things. And obviously, let's not forget Jorginho. I mean, is it a surprise that recently Jorginho has come out and said, well, I'd really like to stay at Chelsea Football Club? I mean, did he know perhaps Koulibaly? And I think they were good mates back in Napoli, because I've seen there's a lot of pictures of both of them hugging, this, that, they're rapping. Koulibaly's got the stereo at the background and Jorginho's rapping. So I think there might have been a bit of chemistry between those two. So we'll see. I'm really excited to see that. And then maybe that might have played a bit of a role for Koulibaly to come in. I'm just very proud of how our football club, especially Todd Bowley and Thomas Tuchel, obviously, as soon as they realized that the De Ligt situation was going nowhere and the De Ligt situation is way out of control, it's too expensive, we made a quick decision. We said, you know what? I'm not going to play these games anymore. We already played one game with Rafinha and ended up going to Barcelona. I ain't playing another game here. Behind you can have your man. We will go straight to Koulibaly. And wow, convinced him, because this guy apparently told his agent as well, talk to Barcelona, see what's going on there. So we've convinced this guy to come and play for us in a matter of literally 24 to 48 hours. So I'm very happy with that, to a point where he's looking to join in the preseason, which is fantastic. Yeah. In regards to that fear-mongering in Big Six, I noticed that as well, because I was tuning in and watching that. Look, there's no secret. It's not a secret that he plays well on the left, because that's where he's predominantly played.
Yeah.
But as I said a couple of shows ago, here in All You Can Eat Chelsea, these are not Mickey Mouse players, man. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're telling me Koulibaly, all of a sudden, if he plays on the right, he will forget how to play football. All of a sudden, he does not know where his leg to his hand is. Like, this is Kalidou Koulibaly. He ain't just a LCB. Do you know what I mean? He is a defender.
Yeah.
He will defend and he will chop your legs off. That's what he will do. You can put him on the right, you can put him on the middle, you can put him anywhere. He will chop your legs off. That's what he knows what to do. So, yes, tactically, it could be a bit of an adjustment if he plays on the right. But I don't necessarily think he might be a LCB. I think he probably might be a centre CB.
I
He
agree.
can do
Someone in
either
the
three.
middle.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't think Silva's going to play every single game. It's the World Cup year as well. So
Yeah. Silva may not
God
even
knows.
be a starter. Silva may be
He
in
may
a
not be.
different role this season where, like you're saying, Koulibaly starts in the middle. You have the right side centre-back, whoever that may be, maybe Trevor. The left-hand side, Kimpembe or Ake.
Well,
And
Ake,
Silva's actually plays more of a John Terry role in our title win, where he is still an important member of the team and he'll still play games, but he'll maybe only play the absolute must games, the crucial ones.
Champions League games,
Champions League,
Premier League games.
Big Premier League games, yeah. But the home games against, no disrespect, your Fulhams, your Bournemouths, they'll say, do you know what? Koulibaly can play brilliantly out the back. We'll play you and we'll rest you, so we'll look after you, because you do need to. Like you said, he's coming into 38 now, so we do need to look after him.
It's a World Cup year as well, Matisse. Like, he don't want to get like this is a big chance for Brazil to win the World Cup along with perhaps Argentina.
His last chance.
Like,
that's
his
his last
chance. I mean, who knows? This brother, we don't know.
True.
He
never know.
He could stay fit.
Yeah.
You know, we got players like what's that guy's name from Arsenal who retired and now he's an under-18s coach. What's his name?
Oh, Wilshere.
Wilshere. We've got people like Wilshere retiring ahead of players like Thiago Silva. So you never know what could happen. Yeah, man, I'm very excited, very happy, and
with Koulibaly,
perfect for Thomas.
just to let you know, two things. Firstly, I think Koulibaly coming in could begin the transition from us going from a back three to a back four, right? Because Koulibaly is only played in back fours, and that leads me on to how it was when Tuchel first came to Chelsea and you got people to adapt to the back three. So I think like Koulibaly coming in, Koulibaly could become another monster under Thomas Tuchel. If we're looking at the example of how he changed Rudiger, if he does the same to Koulibaly, attackers ain't ready. But just to put everyone's minds at ease, for the entirety of the AFCON, and whenever Koulibaly plays for Senegal, I've checked and I have verified, Diallo is the left centre-back, Koulibaly is the right centre-back. He plays at right centre-back for his country all the time. So we've got ourselves someone that can play left centre-back, right centre-back, centre-back, can probably play in goal if he has to. So
can probably play DM, probably play as a box-to-box, maybe even a striker, false nine, throw it all in.
We're sorted. Exactly. We're sorted. Koulibaly, for anyone that was fear-mongering, relax. You'll see when we start the Premier League season. You'll see.
Do you know what, Younes? The fear-mongering is happening because they're actually worried this is a top-notch defender. They're scared. They're scared. This is a top-notch defender. There's no two ways around this. Koulibaly is a big-time defender. And they're just trying to make us feel scared. Look,
people wanted a younger, defender who hasn't got as much experience, who would have kept our balance, pretty imbalanced defensively in terms of we've lost experience in Aspi, Rudiger, potentially Aspi, Christensen. They wanted another young defender who's going to take a year to settle in the country, all these things. They didn't want a very experienced, knows his way around the block defender to come in. Worst case scenario for rivals. I understand. It gets
Harry
like
Kane,
that.
you may not score against us.
Do you know what though? I must say the battles are going to be mad, right? We got obviously Van Dijk, Diaz, but Diaz has been caught stripping a few times against Kai. But Van Dijk and Koulibaly especially up against Haaland, Harry Kane. It's going to be serious. Like there's going to be like Koulibaly versus Haaland. Koulibaly versus Haaland, that's going to be a fight. That's going to be a proper fight. It's going to be mad. I'm looking forward to it. Even Van Dijk as well.
There's some pictures that were going around, and this particular female journalist that was saying, I'm 5'7" and I had heels on, and Haaland still had like this much on. Like he's a monster. And she was saying, this guy's a frame and a half. Like this guy's huge. So yeah, the contest is going to be mad.
Yeah. It's gonna be mad, bro. I'm just thinking about. For me, I'm just thinking about. We had Silva who made others look better and improved them. I'm hoping Koulibaly just does the same thing, and I think it's great for Mendy as well. You know, he's got someone that he's already played with. He's got a chemistry with from international duty, obviously, all the time. It's great for him. And hopefully it brings Mendy back to his level as well. Just brings that extra bit of confidence that he's got a best friend in there as well, that he knows. Because I think Mendy dropped off a little bit last season in terms of his overall performance. He started to make a few more mistakes. Ball playing ability wasn't there as well. Started to give the ball away cheaply in areas where he shouldn't have. So hopefully we need him to get back to that level, because we're not getting a new starter. You know, we'd be lucky if we even move Kepa on and get the backup. So I need Mendy to get back to his lofty ceiling. He started the season off brilliantly. You know, we were one of the best defensive teams on record ever. We were looking like we were going to smash our own record. And it kind of all just started to fall apart along with the rest of the team. He had some great performances. Remember that game away to Brentford? Unbelievable performance. That was like man of the match. Yeah, we shouldn't have won that. No, we didn't deserve to win that at all. We beat them, I think, 1-0, but we definitely deserved to lose. Mendy had an outstanding performance. So I want him to hopefully get back to that level. So yeah, I think with Koulibaly, listen, leadership, it's all there on a platter for us. So I'm looking forward to him. Now we move, I guess, into these. I mean, I don't know. Nizar Kinsella just reports that we're getting very close to a fee agreed for Nathan Ake. The Kimpembe links are there. The only thing I will say about this as well, what I don't like, obviously they're both left footers. They both are on the left. Kimpembe's always played left side of the four at PSG.
And he is left footer. Kimpembe is left footer.
Yeah, he's left footed.
Yeah.
Nathan Ake is always obviously going to play on the left. Neither of them are right side options. So it's not even like you're getting balance. If you was getting a left sided option, Koulibaly in the middle, and a right side option in Jules Koundé, then I just, you know what? Fair enough. It is what it is. You want to let Colwill go, you know, buy back, whatever. I don't like it, but it is what it is. I can stomach it. For me, it feels a bit imbalanced. Do we want Kimpembe in the middle of a back three? Not really for me. Do you want Ake in the middle of a back three? Not really for me. You know, neither of them are like Marquinhos. They're not Silva. They're not Koulibaly. I don't think they're of that level. I think they're better, both of them, on the left. So then my question is, why didn't we go for one of them? And if you desperately really want another right-sider, get Jules Koundé, who's been begging to come to this club for ages, has a bundle of talent, and he is brilliant on the right, stepping forward into the midfield, dribbling, all of these things. He's a quality modern-day centre-back. And then you have complete balance. Why are we going for two left-footers? And we have Colwill, and we have Malang Sarr, who's still here. 4 left-footed defenders. And for me, I can't sit aside and just be like, whatever, it is what it is. It just doesn't make any sense. And I know for all the people that are going crazy on Twitter and cussing, saying, oh, it's Cobham sexual, it's got nothing to do with that, because I spoke about Ethan Ampadu. It's not even about the passport. Ethan Ampadu's Welsh. I've stuck up for him many a time. I made a video on him being the special option. I know Miz has been talking about as well. We'll be talking about it privately, about the special option in DM. It's about I can't make sense of it. If anybody here can make sense of it and tell me why we need like all these left-footed centre-backs, then great. But I can't make sense of it. And then people will say, well, Ake could be cover at left wing back. I don't want to see Ake at left wing when we push our wing backs up in the front line. Ake on the left wing in underlapping Sterling. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see Ake in the final third. So I don't want Ake at DM. Is he really a DM? Really? When was the last time we saw Ake play DM?
This is the thing. I was going to come to this. I've been trying to find out what is Tuchel seeing that we're not. Yeah, with Ake, there's something. There has to be something here that Tuchel's like, yes, get me this guy, that we're not, and we're just like, I don't get it. So I've tried to dig, right, and I've tried to see, okay, in terms of our centre back situation, we all understand the situation, right? And in terms of how much it could impact Levi Colwill, how much it impacts if we were to get Kimpembe too. Is Ake going to be a backup? So why are we signing a backup? So I was like, okay, how versatile is this guy? And then you find out that, yeah, he's played at left back at times. He's played at left wing back at times. But throughout his youth career, up until when he became a senior, and as a senior a few times, he was a DM. And I'm thinking, okay, so is he actually bringing him in? Or maybe we're not getting Rice. Maybe West Ham are not actually selling. Maybe our DM options will be Ake and Ampadu. It's a possibility. Maybe he's bringing him in because of his versatility. I'm thinking there has to be a reason, but what is it? It could be that. So if that happens, I get it, but am I convinced?
Yeah, is he a good enough DM for us in build-up play, all these things? I mean,
Tuchel thinks he is. Also, I don't know. Maybe he's just going to play him at centre back. Who knows? But there's something that Tuchel sees in this guy that we're all missing out on, and I'm curious. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm willing to give the opportunity here. But I want to say, and I want to stress, we know the Levi Colwill situation is impacted by Kimpembe and Ake both coming in, right?
Yeah.
If Ake were to be used more as DM cover or as a DM, even in that aspect, will that limit Levi Colwill? Maybe it's versatility. I don't know.
I just don't get why Ake, who's been playing centre-back for Bournemouth, centre-back for Manchester City, centre-back for Holland, would now come and play DM for Chelsea in an area of the pitch that is no joke, really is, thunder and lightning on the football pitch.
Yeah.
Build up play, press, high intensity, scan, options, pass, move. No time for pissing about. Like, you can't come from youth level, play senior the whole time at centre back, and then just go back to midfield and think everything's going to be okay. Sounds like, though, he'll be playing the role that you've described is similar to what like Martinez represents on the market for Arsenal and Man United, which is this player that can play left back, this player can play centre back, play DM, this versatile kind of guy. But then I also asked the question, why does Ake want to come here to not be seen as a starter? Why does he want to come here to be seen as a utility squad, multiple position type player when he's already a squad player at City? I just don't understand how you convince Kimpembe and Ake to come, and they're both kind of battling for the same position. Usually these players make moves to come and start games. So it's a strange one.
Is there a chance maybe he goes to right centre back?
Oh God. You're gonna make my nose start bleeding again. Because obviously we all prefer to have. And again, I'm only throwing these options out because none of us understand what's going on. Yeah, and I like critical.
We're trying to understand it.
I like critical thinking, and I think there's this notion in the fan base that it's Tuchel, he knows what he's doing, don't question him, move on. And I'm like, that sounds nice, but that's not really good content, and that's not really good Chelsea conversation. Like, if you're just gonna go along with whatever he says and you're not gonna think about it, then great, but that's really boring, and that's not really making any sense because managers make mistakes all the time. Pep didn't play a DM. He didn't play a DM in the Champions League. Everybody questioned it. And then, it didn't work. We bought Tuchel, we bought Lukaku. Tuchel thought he would hold up play. The people that questioned it, not me, but the people that questioned it ended up being pretty damn correct. So, if you see, you see pundits, you see people that played the game, you see people that are managers that will disagree with what Tuchel's doing currently. They'll be like, why is he doing that? It doesn't really make any sense. It's not just fans that don't have a UEFA B license that will question it. Many managers will look at what Tuchel's doing in terms of two left-footed centre-backs and be like, what's the plan with that? And it's not to say that it won't work and they won't play well, but at this current moment, I can't figure it out. And I'm interested to see when I premiere this in the comments, what people, definitely let me know in the comments if you understand what the plan is. I think one of them makes perfect sense. Kimpembe for me is better than Ake. But I think both of them will be brought up to a level under Tuchel where, listen, Kimpembe was brilliant, I think, under Tuchel. And Ake, I think he's been wanting him for years. He'll come up to a great level under Tuchel as well because he's shown he can take centre-backs to the next level. But both of them, for me, is just... I think my biggest thing is not even just Colwill. I think it's a waste of resources because if we have a budget and we have only so much amount we can spend, this is taken away from maybe a wing back or getting a better wing back or getting a better attacker, a more expensive attacker. And that's where I'm like, is that really necessary? So
this is the thing. I agree with basically everything there, right? In terms of my perspective, and if it was down to me, managers can make mistakes, absolutely. Managers can sometimes also do something that's unpredictable and then it ends up paying off in the long run. So this is where I'm like, you know what? Like, he seems adamant the money isn't low. 40 million or 45 million. You know, to bring in someone like that who's just going to sit there and be a backup, or it doesn't compute. It doesn't compute. So I'm intrigued to actually see what is Tuchel's plan here. I'm willing to give it a chance and see what do you have in store. I want to see how this is going to work. And then later on, if it does, fantastic. And if it doesn't, then we can be like, okay, well, that didn't. But at a consequence, of there's the Levi Colwill situation.
I mean, I think Chelsea fans don't really understand how highly the kid is rated amongst Europe's young defenders. And I think there's this thing in Chelsea's fan base right now where every single youngster gets put into the same box. You're not allowed to rate youngsters differently. If you didn't rate this one, it's because of this. Now you rate that one, it's because of that. Where really they're not the same player. So people will say, oh, Ian Maatsen, he's gone back out on loan. Look at him working hard. Ian Maatsen's gone back out on loan to Burnley or back to the Championship. He's never had a Premier League loan. He's not got any Premier League interest for him. Colwill is not the same player. Colwill is younger. Colwill has done his Championship loan and he's not linked with the Championship again for good reason. He's only linked with Premier League clubs. So I think the fan base is being a little bit immature. I can't lie. Really immature about the way that they're talking about the young players at the moment in terms of, oh, well, this one's going out on loan again, so that one should. They're not the same player. They don't have the same ability. They don't have the same trajectory. Oh, this player, why are you so desperate to keep this one and not this one? Because they don't play in the same position. They don't have the same amount of talent, in someone's opinion. And it's just a bit childish. And I think you'd think we would have learned our lesson from Tomori, from Gurhi, from all these other defenders. And it appears that we're not learning the lesson. And my question is, how long does it take Levi Colwill to catch up to Nathan Ake's current level of ability? I personally, if he proves that he is as good as we say he is, I don't think it takes more than a year and a half for him to really catch up. Are you going to really notice the difference? Because if we were bringing in world-class defenders, then I would be like, fine. But the same argument that people are making for, oh, well, you know, screw it. He doesn't want to be sixth choice defender. Let him go. Or he doesn't want to go back on loan. Screw him. We're better off without him. If you'd taken that same approach with Tomori, you wouldn't currently have a Serie A winning centre-back. Tomori would probably still be going through the loan system like Lewis Baker was. Gurhi, captain at Palace. You can see that these players, if they are given half an opportunity, they do the business. And it's the same fans that are saying, oh, well, it doesn't matter. We want to win now. Reece James is probably one of our best players. Where did he come from? Wigan. And he came back on loan from Wigan. And because there was an actual pathway for an opportunity where he was second choice to Azpilicueta, not disrespectfully in like third choice or fourth choice, which is what people are advocating Colwill, that he should sit down and be sixth choice behind two new left side centre backs and one new leader in Koulibaly, plus Trevor, plus Silva. It's honestly nonsensical to even think that a youngster should even bother try and compete with all of that for a team that could play a back four at times. When you compare to Reece and, you know, Mason, they didn't have these same struggles of trying to overcome these many players. They just came in and they were second choice, transfer ban, and they got their opportunity, and now they're some of our best players. And they've saved us 60, 70, 80, 90 million pounds. And they've saved us on the wage bill. So people will act like we're not going to close the gap to City or Liverpool by bringing through some of these young players. But these young players save us money. They end up becoming some of our best players because our recruitment has been shit. And it allows us to go for better players that cost more money because we've saved money. So the logistics ain't, the maths is not mathing. And I think a lot of times people get wrapped up in social media, people they don't like, fans that think, you know, take it too far. I'll just put it out there, score, take it too far. And they get wrapped up in agendas and wanting that person to not be happy and, oh, haha, this player's leaving that you want. They get wrapped up in the circus of Twitter and the agendas and how other fans act. And they don't actually think logically in their own head. Does this make sense to me? Is this best for my football club? Do I actually want this to happen? And then when you actually really sit there and think about it, you're like, regardless of this guy and this guy, it actually doesn't really make sense. And it actually, considering what's happened over the last couple of years, it really isn't, the maths isn't really mathing. But we want to be consumed in fights and wars and agendas. And double standards and oh, bro, no. Just sit down sometimes and just think about it and be like, does it? Because if it does make sense, like I said in the comments, explain it to me. That's why I premiere these. I want to see the explanation as to why you don't think there's any point in investing in another young defender that's come through the same way the other ones have and could end up saving us money. But I'd love to hear it. I see Miz's screen at the bottom as well. He's about to do Miz ball.
Oh, go on. Miz ball. Look, haven't seen this in a while.
I'm definitely one of those who never advocated for Nathan Ake. Like I didn't even know how this even came into fruition. Like I didn't know that we were actually ever interested in him prior to this transfer window. So for me, I thought definitely we're bringing in two defenders. Obviously, Rudy going, Christensen. Well, obviously those guys have gone. I thought we're definitely getting in two defenders. One of them was Jules Koundé, because knowing that he's so desperately wanting to join us, and the other one, when the news came about, I really wanted Koulibaly. But the whole Nathan Ake situation, I keep saying Nathan Ake, it's Ake, Nathan Ake. I keep making this mistake. Everyone gets on the back of me in comments as well. I mispronounce it correctly. So Nathan Ake. So look, the only way this makes sense to me is something that Ryan and I on my channel we talked about. And it's very similar to what Younes said. I can only picture him play in this area, but don't get fooled. Just because a DM in this picture looks like he's the most central part here, that doesn't mean with the ball he's going to be in that position. All right?
Yeah.
From my understanding, in build-up, so I'm going with a back four here, okay? Just to sort of make things normal. So in a back four, 3 midfielders, 2 8s, over here, box to box. What we kind of assume that's going to happen is it's going to allow one of the 8s to be further up. And then this position, Ake, is not necessarily going to be in the middle. He's going to be more sort of in the left side, creating a diamond. So if you see here, so this guy pushes up a little bit more. See these 4 players here, boys? 2, 4, 6, 9. Yeah. See the diamond here? I can't draw here, but see the 9, 4, 2, 6? Ake is going to be part of that build-up. And when it's a build-up in a possession-based system, you like to create that overload either on the left or on the right. So I'm just going at the moment on the left. You could very well do this. You could very well do this on the right as well. Something like this, right? And then more advanced would be that 8. So once again, you'll have a situation like that where you create a bit of a diamond. So anyway, going back to the left side, because he's left-footed, you could possibly see something like this happening, which would then allow our build-up to be smoother. Someone with the left foot can create great passing sort of lanes with these 4 players, and then you open up the midfield as well, and then you have players on the right and your striker. That's what I picture with someone like Nathan Ake being in defensive midfield, more as a DLM sort of left-sided defensive midfield with the ball. Now, without the ball, so say, for example, when the play progresses, you've got all these players sort of bombing up, got maybe Sterling at times cutting in, you've got Chilwell going this way, and then you've got Reece James, so on and so forth, and you're left with the 2 CBs. Nathan Ake, without the ball, he's comfortable. He's a defender. He's a CB. So he can easily slot in between these 2 defenders who would go wide. So from that perspective, he could possibly do that Marquinhos role. He could possibly do that.
Yeah.
So for me, that's the only way I picture how
he plays.
That's the only way how I picture. But he's not my preference. He wouldn't be my preference because I feel like someone like Ampadu could do that as well.
That's exactly, that's the exact role that I described in a recent video for Ampadu. And the reason why I described it for Ampadu is because he's so obviously Ake, like you said, would play in that DM, not necessarily the central central zone on the ball and build up. Like you said, maybe pivoting over a little bit to the left, which would make more sense. But
left or right.
All right, yeah. But Ampadu's played DM last season for Venezia. Yeah. So he's got recent experience of playing DM. Obviously, he's much younger, so I can understand maybe there's some concerns about that. But he's played DM. He's played in the back three as well. Ake's mainly played in the four, but Ampadu's played three. Sheffield United, RB Leipzig, very few games, but brilliant game against Tottenham. I'll never forget it. That's all I've got. Wales, obviously DM as well. So he's played a lot of our system in the positions we play in that system. So that's why Ethan Ampadu for me was like such a sneaky option in terms of that. And again, is Ake 40 millions worth?
No way.
That's
definitely not. Definitely not in my opinion. But as Younes said, Thomas Tuchel must have seen something. And I think what he's seen is he's probably seeing he's looking at someone like Nathan Ake and thinking, you're a good ball player, and I need that. I need that in my midfield. That's the biggest thing. I'm thinking he's getting Nathan Ake more with the ball as opposed to without the ball. What he could possibly do in midfield. He could, as I said, he could possibly play even in the LCB, moving into midfield areas. So that he must rate Nathan Ake's ball playing ability
really highly.
Really highly. For a manager who has been quoted to say that he wanted him in Dortmund, he rates this guy highly more than Ampadu. Even though for us fans, we've seen Nathan Ake, but we've seen probably a lot more in terms of Ampadu in international level and bits and pieces when he's on loan.
No one's really seen much of Ake because he's barely been playing. He's played 40 games over the last 2 seasons, isn't it?
He was injured. He was injured for Man City. So we've seen a lot more of Ampadu, and we're like, nah, man, what you want to do, Thomas, he can do that. But I think Tuchel is just. This is the thing. This is why. And now transitioning into the next part where you were saying about Levi Colwill and certain parts of the fan base now all of a sudden in hoo-ha and very upset, this, that, the other. Look, I was also very annoyed about the news yesterday in regards to Levi Colwill. And I said to you guys that I could picture that if there is 3 CBs coming, then someone like Levi Colwill could possibly move out. We'll talk about the Kimpembe situation, but let me just talk a little bit about this Levi Colwill thing. With Levi Colwill, we have to understand, boys, he's 19, number one. He's got a contract till 2025. I want this guy to make it to Chelsea Football Club. I really do. But what annoyed me last night initially was, oh man, here we go, we're pushing someone out. But later on, when I sort of marinated the whole situation in my head, it's that word permanent. Now, a lot of the people are now coming out and saying, no, he never wanted to leave. But let's just play along with the whole situation that if he wanted to leave permanently, my question is, Levi, why do you want to leave permanently?
Why not do a loan in the Premier League?
Why not do a loan in the Premier League? Like, it's not going to affect you. In fact, it's probably going to be at your own benefit. Getting that opportunity to play in the Premier League on a loan, do well, and you never know what may happen next season. Reassess next season. You still have a lot of development to do. All the tactical, in-depth stuff that Thomas Tuchel's probably going to want from you, whether it's LCB at times will have to act as a LDM coming into midfield areas. It may be too much for you. You're 19, man. Do you know what I mean? Like, no disrespect, but Thomas Tuchel, he's already got, like, all these people coming out and saying Thomas Tuchel doesn't trust the Chelsea Academy. Are you kidding me? There's Mason Mount, there's Reece James, there's Chalobah, there's Ruben Loftus-Cheek was also part of our, academy. Hudson-Odoi, like
Christensen.
Christian, like, there's so many players from our academy. Like, name me another Premier League team that has that many players in their starting lineup or in their squad full of academy players.
Well, they don't have as good an academy as us. I'm sorry to say, they are shit compared to us.
No, fair enough. But what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, Thomas Tuchel's duty is not babysitting. He doesn't run a daycare center, but he needs to win trophies as well. Todd Bowley ain't going to be saying, so Thomas, how many academy boys have you integrated this season? Oh, 5. That's a tick mark. You're staying. What'd you come in the table? 7. No.
I hear that, but
do you know what I mean?
In our well, it depends who comes through, because you can't just let any old Mickey Mouse player come through. But some of our purchases are taking us away from trophies, and I want to make that. I want to make that side of it. Yeah, some of our purchasing is taking us further away, if anything, because it's not like as if our purchases are very good. Do you know what I mean?
100%. Look, and I'm not saying what I just said to demean. I love the academy, man. I want more players to get opportunity. But what I'm trying to say is that when Thomas Tuchel talks about balance, I think you need to understand from a holistic point of view. Like, there's a reason why he's gone for more experience in the back line, because he doesn't want to nurture and nourish and sit down and babysit someone. He wants to have warriors there that are going to understand his, philosophy and his structure in defense and go out there and do the job. We need mature human beings in the back. We don't need someone to consistently talk to another player and see them through in a match. Not saying that Lewa Colwill probably will need that. Maybe Lewa Colwill comes in and becomes a mature player. But there's nothing wrong with you, Lewa, if you go out on a 1-year loan. You got ages to go in your career, my man.
I agree.
It makes zero sense to me, Lewa Colwill. And
not going on a Premier League loan.
This is a message for people that think like Lewa Colwill. This is a message for you guys. Chelsea Football Club has spent a lot of time behind you. You have spent a lot of time on Chelsea Football Club. Yes, I get that. But Chelsea Football Club has seen you as a kid, seen you grow up, given you the facilities, the environment to become this superb youngster. Have a little bit more patience if you want to be a Chelsea player. Don't take your first opportunity to go play for Southampton, because there's some rumors that Southampton. What are you going to be in Southampton, man? Southampton leaking goals left, right, and center. You think your performances at Southampton is going to elevate you to the next level? You need to go to a team like what Tomori did, like AC Milan or something like that. Even like what Mark Gihey did, somewhere where there is a defensive structure. Go on to Southampton. Sure, you're going to get game time, but what does that mean? Not many people are going to be looking at you from an international point of view. You're going to end up then finding like Kalamata Nadoy. Where else did my parents come from? Maybe I can play for Ghana or something like that. Let me check out my history log. Where was my ancestors? Maybe I'll play with them. Look, man, Lewa Colwill, calm down. And and the other thing is, if it's for money, I asked some of my people in the live chat today, how much is Tino Livramento earning? Some people were saying he's earning like about 7K a week. I don't know whether this is true. And I'm thinking, Tino, great, you moved. Whatever happened, you saw, but hindsight, looking back, you would have got game time at Chelsea.
Oh, he would have. The funny thing is about the whole Livramento situation is that if he had stayed, he would have got game time, because we literally need athletic wing backs, and he can play both sides.
Matisse, and now we would not be looking at a right wing back, because we have a right wing back with Reece James and Tino Livramento, and Tino Livramento would get game time, because now there's even talks about Reece James perhaps playing as RCB, because injuries are mounting up. Wing back position gets too demanding on his body.
So what you're saying is, if they just at a young age just relax a little bit. And just see what happens in a year's time, and then reassess, is what you're saying.
Bro, next year, we're getting... So this year, supposedly, obviously, we got Koulibaly. We're getting perhaps Kimpembe and Nathan Ake. There's Silva. What's the guarantee? Any of you guys can say that Thiago Silva, after the World Cup, he'll be like, yeah, I'll play another more season. He could possibly go. I'm just saying, it's a hypothetical that it's not written in the stone that he's going to stay.
Yeah.
What's the guarantee the 3 CBs we're getting are all going to bang for us? All of them are going to bang. I want them to bang, but what's the guarantee, right? There's always a mishap. I hope there isn't. What's the guarantee that every single one of these players in defense are going to stay fit?
But under new ownership now, I don't think we'll be so quick, and I don't think we should be so quick to buy, sell. If you didn't work, off you go. I think Tuchel, if he's bringing in these players, he needs to make sure that they're the right players and that he is getting the best out of them, because this is now his squad that he's building. And that's why I have a concern of it being 2 left footers. If there was 1 left footer and 1 right footer, then it would make more sense to me. If you look at Klopp and Liverpool's hit rate and the club we're trying to be in terms of recruitment, they get it right 85% of the time. 85% of the time they get it spot on. We're no longer in a time where Tuchel can buy a player, flop, get rid. He had that with Lukaku. You don't get any more. You don't get any more in terms of that level, that magnitude of bringing in a player for that massive amount of fee market value wise on Todd's, books, that will be down as a massive loss in terms of market value, in terms of assets, regardless of whether you paid for it or not. When you buy the club and if you buy a house or you buy a shop, say you buy a house and the house comes with, I don't know, a garage, and then the garage gets a massive, from the rooftops, or there's the garage just crumbles. You didn't pay for, I guess, the garage. You usually paid for everything. You paid for the whole lot. But as an asset, you're still losing quite a bit, and Lukaku will represent as a lot.
Completely get that.
Yeah. So I just don't think he can afford to do that again.
Here's the
next
counter.
summer.
I completely understand what you're saying. That financial standpoint makes complete sense. But at the same time, logically thinking, if a player is not working out, let's say for argument's sake, really not working out, and maybe the player wants to get out as well, you're not going to keep an unhappy player or a player that's simply not working out. Look at the way we quickly moved on from the Lukaku situation. Some may say that's clean books. Lukaku wasn't bought by the new owners. No, at the end of the day, it's still an L. All the books may be under a new ownership, but the accounting system don't change. Like, it's still, we are paying those money. Do you know what I mean? We are still taking the financial losses. So if one of those players don't work out, you still have, basically what I'm trying to say with the Levi Colwill thing is, brother, you're 19, stay patient. You don't know what the world's going to be next season. In 12 months' time, you don't know. It doesn't hurt you to go out on a loan, do your thing, develop and be a monster, much like what Conor Gallagher has. Conor's at a stage where he don't need no more loans. If Chelsea turns around and goes, Conor, one more loan, Conor's going to go, F you, because I've ripped it apart. I've filled it. So it's either I now actually get a proper chance because I've proven it in the Premier League, not once, twice, or you actually let me go because I got suitors. I'm going to be a baller elsewhere. Levi Colwill cannot say what Conor's going to say. Levi can't turn around and say, Thomas, I ripped it apart in Championship. Now, Championship, no disrespect, great. Now I demand XYZ minute. You can't demand nothing, young kid. You cannot demand anything.
But this is why I also say you have to. For me, I get you, but also some talents are not the same level as other talents. I don't think Conor Gallagher is as talented, technically, in my opinion, as Levi Colwill. When you're looking at position for position and you're ranking up and coming talents in world football in terms of the grand spectrum in a position, I don't think they rank the same. However, I do get the policy that you're trying to put across the board that, listen, you need to work hard to get your spot, just like everybody else did in a way. So it's a balance to it. It's a strange one.
Matthias, what you just said in regards to Levi Colwill, that not every kid will be in the same level as Conor, some may be more. But at the end of the day, Tuchel might think differently. You may think Levi Colwill, I may think, or Younes may think that, Levi Colwill, he ain't a normal 19-year-old. But Tuchel could sit down with us three right now and say, lads, it's just a normal 19-year-old for me. He ain't no special. Yeah. He ain't no special. Nathan Ake is special for me.
This is the thing. This leads on exactly to what I wanted to say, because actually, firstly, Simon Phillips put out an update this morning about the whole Levi Colwill situation. Yeah. Colwill doesn't want to leave.
Yeah.
He's not demanding to be a starter, but wants a fair shot and assurances of game time. Situation dependent on the arrivals. Chelsea do know his quality, and a buyback would be inserted if he sold, right? I think the one thing there is that he isn't demanding to be an instant starter, but does want a fair shot and assurances of game time. This leads to this point that you just mentioned, Biz, right? Because a 19-year-old who's had one loan to demand assurances from a Tuchel that is already looking at players that you know you're going to fall behind instantly. Why? Because if he wants Kimpembe, he's worked with Kimpembe before.
Exactly.
Kimpembe has already done his work under Thomas Tuchel.
Kimpembe was a monster under Thomas Tuchel.
Was
a monster.
The experience is there. 26, he's already at his prime. Is probably going to remain at his prime. As I've said, what he's won, World Cup and whatnot, it's instant. Ake's been a long target for Thomas Tuchel even before Chelsea. So even in terms of Tuchel as a manager, you put two options on the table. Ake or Levi Colwill. what do you think? Of course, he's going to be like, oh, Nathan Ake, because he sees something in this guy, which again we've spoken about already, and we're trying to figure out. But as Levi Colwill, you're already behind. So to try and go to that manager that's already got 2 players ahead of you in his head and go, I want assurances of game time. What do you think is going to happen? The only thing that you can do is in preseason, you put your head down, you put in the work, and you try to convince him. It's the only way. He's not going to give you an assurance. You're going to change his mind in the same way that Chalobah did. But you're going to have to change his mind. At the same time, if it means that, if it means 1 year of trying to fill things out, even if it means that you are going on a loan in the Premier League, or you are going to hang about and just try and convince Tuchel during the season, and then the following season assess your options, I doubt those teams are interested now are not going to be interested in 1 year at the age of 20 compared to 19 now. If he doesn't play as much as he would like at Chelsea, he would find the move, but he's got to be patient because in Tuchel's head, you already know he's behind. As much as we all admire it, we're not the managers here. This is Tuchel, and we've all said that he needs to be given that chance to build his team. It's unfortunate for Colwill that there's 2 guys in Tuchel's heads that he's already pipping ahead of him, right? And we've already assessed that. Colwill needs to analyze the situation. I would go with the same approach that you said, Miz, in terms of a loan, or mate, you're gonna have to prove it to him and get him to change his mind. It's as simple as that. But you're not gonna
and you know what, Younes, you're bang on, man. If I was Colwill, I'd actually thrive. I'd be like, here's an opportunity for me to take over Tuchel's mind, to give him a new picture. He's at the moment, as you said, Younes, he's got 2 players ahead of him. Here's my opportunity, kill it in the preseason, start making him think about me. If I get that loan opportunity at a Premier League club, which he should easily get a loan in the Premier League club, you best believe Thomas Tuchel's watching you week in, week out. 100%. I'll tell you right now, Thomas Tuchel is watching every single one of your games if you're going on a Premier League loan. So what does that mean for you? Slowly, he starts putting a picture in your skill set, in your quality. What can you do in the Premier League against big-time players? Do you know what I mean? What can you do against Erling Haaland? What can you do against Mohamed Salah? That's what you're going to have to face when you come to Chelsea Football Club. Do you know what I mean? You are asking for fair go, assurances. These are words that don't fit for a youngster at Chelsea Football Club. It's plain simple.
You just have to show it.
You got to show it. Mason did not.
Ronaldo. Tuchel has decided against Cristiano Ronaldo. Breaking news from Fabrizio. He will not be joining Chelsea.
I thought it was a here we go for like Kimpembe.
I was like, what?
Thank God. After last week's show, I swear to God. Oh, the relief.
Moving back to yes.
LOL.
No.
The sad Sue.
which means we definitely will look at someone like Gnabry or Rafael. It has to be.
So who's the front man going to be if we're going to go for someone?
It'll have to be Havertz and Timo Werner probably. Timo Werner can't
still
leave
here.
Now,
Timo's still here.
Timo can't. Yeah.
I would hope that Timo can still leave, to be honest, but he's still here.
I think Broha will probably. Broha is another one that he thinks he needs to start. He actually thinks he wants he's even more than Lewa Colwill. He thinks I used to start for Southampton. I used to be a Premier League starter. I'm not even Lewa Colwill's level. Lewa Colwill was a championship player. I was a starter for Southampton in the Premier League. So Armando Broja could be someone very difficult to. But going back to the Lewa Colwill point as well, and this is the last thing that I want to say before you guys move on to the next topic. If it's for the money, and I don't know whether it is, because I was thinking as a youngster, maybe, yes, you want game time, but at the same time, it's your career. You only get a short amount of time to make a lot of money. If it's money, I asked in my live chat, how much does Tino Livramento earn going to Southampton? Some people said he only earns about 7K a week. I'm thinking, if it's 7K a week, is it really worth it? Is it really worth it to give away that opportunity to perhaps make it at Chelsea Football Club? 7K a week, Tino Livramento. like, honestly saying, Tino Livramento better hope Chelsea buys him, because at Southampton, the amount of goals they leak over there, people will not look at Tino Livramento that like.
Well, I don't know.
I
think because he's a fullback, he might get away with it a little bit more. Because obviously fullbacks in the modern era are a lot more attacking. Even, you know, Trent at times is blitzed defensively, but he's obviously regarded so highly. I think if its attacking metrics are high enough, then he'll catch attention.
Fair enough, but being part of a team that constantly pumps in on a regular, like, surely that might not be good for.
No, I don't think so. But I think a centre back is definitely costly, and sure, his morale for sure. But I think you could definitely isolate his statistics, dribbles, passed, and things like that, and you can see whether he's doing his job, or whether, you know, he's just getting eaten alive constantly. There'd be a massive difference. I think when you're defending out wide, you're up against one player. It's very clear to see whether you can defend or not. Do you know what I mean?
Just to let you know, Ben Jacobs has come up with a monstrous thread about Levi Colwill.
Oh, well, we'll read that as our last closing thoughts before we wrap up. I've just let's see. So
I was gonna say, as you load that up, I was gonna say, in the event that he gets sold, right? As we already know, there will be a buyback, 100%. So that will be an opportunity for us to down the line see exactly what he does, and if he does turn into a beast, then yes, we might have to take a little bit of an L financially, but we can get him back. So,
and look, and even if there isn't a buyback, ask Romelu Lukaku, ask Nathan Ake, ask everyone.
You can still find your way home.
We buy you back.
Oh God! Ask Declan. Oh no, not yet.
Ask Declan.
My understanding. So this is the thread. My understanding with Levi Colwill is there is no shortage of interest. Southampton and Leicester both rated the 19-year-old. Colwill was not asked for a permanent move, so that's good. He seeks clarity though of his long-term role, which I think is fair enough, and future at Chelsea is similar to Armando Broja. The challenge for a lot of big clubs is providing a clear pathway for young talent. From Colwill's perspective, he did all he could at Huddersfield to show he's developing into a Premier League centre-back, but Chelsea also need instant and proven defenders capable of Champions League level. Fans will naturally say, why can't we have both, and hope Chelsea just loan Colwill. That's ideal for the club, but footballers are human and not all of them want to keep being loaned out and come back in the same position in a year. A new manager, a dressing room house can take its toll. Fair enough. That's actually a very good point. With Colwill, he's not asked to leave just yet, but with 3 defenders incoming almost certain, he wants to understand whether he has a role, not just this season, but not just this season as in brackets, before deciding. Not told, final decision. He's by no means pushing for a Chelsea exit, only clarity over his future. It's a really good thread so far, I must say, if this is completely true, of course, because I do understand where he's coming from this perspective. Chelsea will get a healthy fee for Colwill if they do sell, just like with Mark Gurley went to Palace, but I understand there is further internal and manager to player discussions needed before any decision is taken. Broja is more of a challenge since Albanian open to leaving if he isn't given more instant game time at Chelsea. I think that's because he's played at Southampton, like he just said. He's got a taste of it. I think once you get a taste of playing, it's very hard to then not play. And obviously Kai is still young as well, so that doesn't help. Chelsea always wanted to assess him pre-season and are doing that, but he has had 2 loans and scored 6 Premier League goals plus the high level of interest. Chelsea genuinely haven't made up their mind what approach to take with either player, and that's normal given how early we are in pre-season. But a key point with young talent is to remember it's not only what the club wants. Some young players are happy to wait because they believe there is a clear first team pathway, but many clubs, not Chelsea specific, are vague at offering a roadmap, and that can influence a young player's decision. Final part of the thread, it makes such a difference to a young talent and what they ultimately decide, whether when the manager is approachable and willing to engage. In this case, Tuchel is doing that exactly with both Colwill and Broja. More clarity will come on their futures as the window shapes up.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
That sounds ideal so far in terms of both parties and exactly what we want. And it looks like Chelsea are taking that seriously, and Tuchel's willing to monitor, discuss with them, see them in pre-season, which is what we all wanted. We'll see. It's nice that Colwell's not demanding I'm going by. Like, he's seeking clarity. He's willing to discuss it.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens.
Because what Miz mentioned there about the loan is the ideal situation, I think, for sure. Because
for the club, yeah.
For the club, maybe, you know, even for his development, you know, to play regularly in the Premier League would be good as well, just to safeguard yourself. But the whole personal side, which we very rarely talk about, moving house every year, that is a lot. And I do get, I do get that. He's young, you know, he's only 19. He probably wants to be near his family, and to move there, you know. So when we talk about loan deals, if it's a loan deal to a London club, it's easier. You know, if it's a loan deal to a team on the other side of the country, it's not as easy. So that's something that always has to be taken into account. And each person is individual. They're different. Mason had no problem going to Holland and Derby, and, you know, but maybe Reece James didn't want to go to Holland, and maybe the Vitesse offer was on the table, but he said, I don't actually want to go to a new country. I don't want to have to learn any language. All these, it depends on the person. So sometimes I think, and we're guilty of it, obviously, because, you know, we talk about football and we see them as maybe moving objects. Do you know what I mean? And we just move them, and we don't actually think personally whether they can stomach or handle a change in lifestyle, a change in country, change in language, change in, you know, have they got kids at a young age? You know, are they dependable on their family? Are they more independent? All these things. So this is the stuff that is behind the scenes that has to be talked about in the meeting between Tuchel, between Levi, between Broja, between all these players. These are like the final 10-15% that we as fans will never get and will never be able to talk about consistently, or I guess we could talk about it consistently, but we'll never get the picture because we don't know them. And that's the final percentage.
And you know what, Matisse, that's such a big point, man. And this is something that I always try and remind myself about this, you know, 5%, 10%, 15%, but I think it's maybe even higher percentage. You know, we always laugh about Thibaut Courtois. I know we still got ill feelings, but there's proper it's well documented. There's articles. One of the biggest reasons why he wanted to move back to Spain, of course, he desired to play for Real Madrid. His kids wanted to move back to Spain. Do you know what I mean? He did it for the family. Like, I know, man. Like, Younes will know soon. You know, getting married and whatnot, and kids. There comes a point you do it for your family. You have to. Do you know what I mean? Whether how the outside world looks at it and whatnot, you got to do the right thing for your family. So we don't tend to think about it that way. They're human beings, man, and sometimes something might look very strange for us, and something might look that, I hate that guy. They did this to our football club. No, they did it because they had to do it for their family.
Yeah, 100%. Well, on that note, we're going to wrap up, guys. It's been a brilliant show. There's a lot more left to do in the day, content-wise for me. London Clubs Carnage, I think, will be later on as well. So you may get the two shows back to back a bit. Miz, let them know where to find you, bro. Pleasure. Brilliant show.
Fantastic conversation. The other side of the coin, ladies and gentlemen, very close to 14,000 now. We've actually gone from 13 to 14 in no time. So I really appreciate all the support. If you can help out to reach to 14, I think it's about, maybe 200 odd away. That'd be much appreciated. Double uploads on a regular, at times, maybe even 3, depending on what type of news that's coming up on a regular basis. But generally double, 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening to wrap things up. Live in the morning, shorter version in the evening. So tune in. There
you go. Younes, bro, let them know. Pleasure. Absolute pleasure as always.
Absolutely, lads. Well, nice one today. A more happy stream, wasn't it? And, looking forward to the next one. But yeah, keeping up with the latest on what's going on at Chelsea and beyond, and gearing up for pre-season. Younes Talks Football. The usual.
There you go. And guys, make sure you smash up the icons. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. There's a lot of different talking points today. Let us know what you think on Sterling, whether he needs the striker or can we get another winger. Let me know what you think about Koulibaly. Can he play on the right side of defense? That's probably the easiest one for me. Let me know what you think about, obviously, Kimpembe, Ake, Colwill, all those things as well. And big up your damn selves. We will see you, of course, for the next episode. And like I said, London Clubs Carnage will be getting recorded not too far from now. Probably get recorded maybe later on today. And then on top of that, you've got obviously the normal videos that will be coming out as well. Both players signing. Koulibaly should be announced probably today. And then we go into the rest of the window. So until next time, big up your damn selves. In a bit, people. Peace.